Welcome back, Patriots. Welcome to Sons of Liberty 1773. This is indeed where men and women from around the world gather in defense of liberty. I am your host, Bill Bailey, who will be channeling the patriotism of America's founding fathers, such as George Washington, who said, "The time is now near at hand, which must probably determine whether Americans are to be free men or slaves, whether they are to have any property they can call their own, whether their houses and farms are to be pillaged and destroyed, and themselves consigned to a state of wretchedness from which no human efforts will deliver them. The fate of unborn millions will now depend under God on the courage and conduct of this army." You. Our cruel and unrelenting enemy leaves us only the choice of brave resistance or the most abject submission. We have, therefore, to resolve to conquer or die. These were general orders by George Washington on Tuesday, July 2nd, 1776. Just 2 days later, the colonies would put the entire British Empire and world on notice when they adopted the Declaration of Independence. Fighters, people that had had enough of tyranny and said, F you. So do you wonder how this reckless administration missed the terrorist attack on Israel that takes us ever deeper into World War III? It's actually pretty simple. The communist illegitimate regime has used the American intelligence apparatus that used to focus rightfully on terrorist and actual threats to America, from that to searching for America First patriots. You know, people like me and you that love America, own guns, Bibles, and constitutions. Biden has repeatedly said the greatest threat to democracy is the MAGA Republicans. Remember his evil Moloch speech where he defiled Independence Hall? Called 100 million Americans that love God and country enemies of the state? No, Mr. Biden and you evil communist. We are not a threat to America, but to you, the illegitimate communist regime that's sucking the lifeblood out of our republic. This is cascading into the greatest depression and what looks like will be nuclear world war. This demonic administration has already started 2 wars. Folks, we could be fighting a 3 or 4 front war at any time now. One in Europe, one against China in the South China Sea, one in the Middle East, one possibly in the Korean Peninsula, and let's not forget the continued battle against the 5th column here in America. Anyone that believes actual kinetic warfare isn't coming, warfare that will bring back the draft and send thousands of America's sons and daughters to die in battle, either isn't paying attention or is a brain-dead minion of the communist, the useless idiots that Stalin talked about. Look what has just happened in the past few days, folks, for you, those of you paying attention. I know you know this. American, Poland, Germany, India, and England, and other countries have rushed to evacuate their cities from Israel. Just 5 days ago, on October 14th, the U.S. issued a travel advisory to not visit, or if you're there, leave Israel, the West Bank and Gaza. The advisory reads, terrorist groups, lone actor terrorists, and other violent extremists continue plotting possible attacks in Israel and the West Bank and Gaza. Terrorists and violent extremists may attack with little or no warning, targeting tourist locations, transportation hubs, markets, shopping malls, and local government facilities. Violence can occur in Israel and the West Bank and Gaza without warning. There has been a marked increase in demonstrations throughout Israel, some with little or no warning. And this just in, literally an hour ago, U.S. State Department now issues worldwide caution travel alert amid rising global tensions. Well, let's not leave out America, right? Because the criminal regime has opened up the southern border to all these bad actors to infiltrate our country, establish terrorist cells, and they're here, folks. So there's a travel warning even here in the continental America. You best be on guard all the time and heavily investing time and energy in your 2A preps. Americans have been warned to leave Lebanon. America and other countries will most likely soon be getting their dignitaries out of embassies located in the Middle East. Israel has announced it is closing its embassies in several Middle Eastern countries, including Bahrain, Jordan, Morocco, Egypt, and Turkey. It's going to get worse, my friends. I just hate to tell you that. This Biden administration is preparing its war machine in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. It includes the uniparty rhinos in that, the warmongers. That will no doubt include war. This will no doubt include war with Iran. I think that's a given at this point. Thanks to Obama and Biden, pallets of cash, right? Biden just released $6 billion in frozen assets to Iran, with the money being used for this terrorist strike on Israel. Not to mention the weapons that are being sold through the black market in Ukraine that were used against Israel. And of course, the weapons, $86 billion of war equipment he left to our enemy, the Taliban, which also showed up being used against Israel. It is now being reported that Yemen is preparing to fight against Israel. They do have missiles that can reach Israel. So the war is forming, all because goes back to November 3rd, 2020, when this illegitimate regime took power and went after their political opponents. It mirrors the Bolshevik Revolution. Look it up. So what have they sent as far as military equipment to the Eastern Mediterranean? Well, I have a list. The U.S. Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier group, USS Eisenhower aircraft carrier group, Ticonderoga class guided missile cruiser, USS Normandy destroyer, USS Thomas Hudner destroyer, USS Ramage destroyer, USS Carney destroyer, USS Roosevelt destroyer, USS Mount Whitney command ship, and the USS Bataan amphibious helicopter carrier and rapid intervention force. All told, there are about 15,000 American sailors and soldiers off the coast of Israel and the Eastern Mediterranean just waiting for orders. In my opinion, this all adds up to we are going to war in the Middle East, folks. It's going to get bad. Don't see anything changing the trajectory that this wicked regime has us on. Just this week, Biden said the U.S. would provide $100 million in funding for humanitarian aid in Gaza and the occupied West Bank. Biden also said he would be asking Congress for massive financial aid to help Israel in its fight against Hamas. The funds are expected to be included in a colossal, are you ready? $100 billion package. The industrial war machine must be smiling, and this explains why they can't have Jim Jordan, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And I have some prepper tip I want to give you. It's important on siphoning fuel. It's probably not going to happen at the end of this video, so stick with me. A lot of important stuff to go through first. So we've already given over $75 billion to Ukraine, and now they are talking about another $100 billion for the wars. America is a bankrupt nation that has over $33 trillion in debt. And this number they never talk about, but it should get a lot more hype. We have over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities, folks. And just in the last 30 days, added another $600 billion to the national debts. The national debt is just totally unsustainable. I just don't believe they're going to fix it. This ends badly. So the Biden regime's assault on America continues, destroying the American dream, sending millions into poverty. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage just hit 8% for the first time since 2000 as Treasury yields soar. Americans' credit card debt is at an all-time high, yet American savings accounts at an all-time low. Inflation is up and the quality of life is down, just in the last 3 years. Americans that were enjoying economic prosperity during the Trump presidency are now living hand to mouth. Everything is up under this criminal regime except our liberties and freedoms, of course, that are being suppressed by the tyrants. It appears, I'm just reading, that Israel is about to launch its ground war. And if you didn't hear me already, it's going to get worse, my friends. Jack Posobiec reports Biden just doxed. Biden is such a, I posted, the Antichrist has nothing on Joe Biden. Biden just doxed the Special Forces team he sent to Israel to help free the American hostages. The White House media team shared a picture last night without blurring or censoring the faces of the Delta Force members. These Delta Force operators' faces. Just another national security breach, right? Jack Posobiec said, remember Biden docked SEAL Team 6 after the Bin Laden raid too? Remember SEAL Team 6, their helicopter was blowing up, killed a bunch of them. Still think it was an accident? Breaking news, the Uniparty has taken out Jim Jordan. He has pulled his name from the speaker race because he's on the record saying he won't fund the Ukraine war. Can't have a guy that won't fund the endless wars, right? The warmongers can't allow him. Like I said, folks, they are taking us to war. Charlie Kirk said, let's just be honest and call it what it is. The House is a bloody mess right now. No sugarcoating what's going on. The fact that rhinos would hold the entire party hostage just to get revenge on Gates is pretty ruthless, especially when Jim Jordan is a team player universally, respected by both moderators and conservatives. But those that want war can't have a guy that won't fund the wars, right? That's a non-starter. Heard a rumor that Jack Bergman, 3-star lieutenant general, my congressman here, is going to put his name in. He's okay, but he's a team player, if you know what I mean, and not on the conservatives team. His votes have been pretty decent, in fairness to Jack. My bitch with Jack Bergman is he has not did anything for the miscarriage of justice regarding the January 6th political prisoners. And, Jack's a Marine, no man left behind. I would assume that means Americans. So, I'm a little pissed at him for that. Marjorie Taylor Greene has called for the individuals at the pro-Palestine protest at the Capitol. Remember, they stormed the Capitol. These pro-Palestinian protesters got inside. She wants them prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, right? Fair is fair. She also asserted that the incident was an insurrection and is demanding that the Capitol Police hand over all surveillance footage, photographic evidence, police reports, and arrest records related to the protest. Fair is fair. The Committee on House Administration must investigate this incident and review all footage and evidence provided by Capitol Police, and the insurrectionists involved must be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. My understanding is more than 100 people were arrested, at least that's according to CBS News. Cindy Powell. She's weak, folks. She's just not the strong America First lawyer we thought she was. Cindy Powell just took a plea deal to avoid the chance of prison time and have 7 felonies dropped. CNN is reporting as part of the plea deal, listen to this, Powell is admitting her role in the January 2021 breach of election systems in rural Coffee County, Georgia. Fulton County prosecutors are recommending sentence of 6 years probation. So no prison time, right? 6 years probation. Powell will also be required to testify at future trials. Think she's going to be working for us, folks? Write an apology letter to the citizens of Georgia. Pay nearly $9,000 in restitution and fines and turn over documents. So this part, write an apology letter to the citizens of Georgia. This is what the communists did to American POWs in Vietnamese prison camps. Right? They beat them, and now in this case it's a legal beating, a legal throwdown they did on Sidney Powell. But they pummeled Americans, tortured them until they would write a letter saying America's the bad guy and all this stuff. So that's what it reminds me of. This is the communist playbook. Sidney Powell, in my opinion, is no Abigail Adams or Deborah Sampson. Deborah Sampson, for those of you that don't know, disguised herself as a boy so she could fight side by side with the men on the battlefronts in the Revolutionary War. She was eventually discovered after being wounded in battle, but she would go on to get the first woman honorably discharged at West Point and would go on to collect veterans' benefits. Sidney Powell made a terrible choice, in my opinion. I'm not going to say she's Benedict Arnold, but she's definitely no Abigail Adams or Deborah Sampson. So a prepper's tip, siphoning gas from newer cars. I've been keeping my vehicles full because I have extra fuel on hand. I can figure when the fuel on hand runs out, I can siphon. Got a siphoning hose, a little pump I bought, although I've never tried it, still in the box. Thinking, I haven't siphoned gas since the 70s, maybe 80s. Thinking you just put the hose down the spigot, and suck the fuel out of the gas tank. It's the way it used to work. How many of you remember sucking gas, getting a mouthful, trying to time it just right, and gas in the mouth never tastes good. So the problem with new vehicles, look yours up, by the way, okay? Do a search on whatever vehicle you own, a web search, and see what you would need to do to siphon gas from it. I think you're going to be disappointed with what you find out. They have a ball valve, some of them. The other ones have a siphon screen. So there's a screen the gas can go through, but not the siphon hose. My friend was looking it up, and it sounds like you can take apart the fuel rail, and a lot of work to get the fuel out of it. Just giving you a heads up on that. Figure out how to get the fuel out of your cars. If you need it, you might want to do a little research right now. 2 Chronicles 7:14, my friends. If my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and heal their land. Psalms 33:12, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. This nation doesn't turn to God and pray for his mercy and help. And if there isn't revival and people don't turn from this satanic rituals and evilness and accept Jesus as Lord and Savior, we're going to go the road of Sodom and Gomorrah. God has did great things with America. And I hope there's enough of us that he will save America versus Sodom and Gomorrah, where there was just one family and he pulled their family out and destroyed it. Just was watching a documentary this morning on Sodom and Gomorrah, where they took a little submarine and dove to the bottom of the Dead Sea, and they believe they have found the ruins of an ancient city there. Now, the problem with the Dead Sea is the salt covers everything. Boats that are only out in the Dead Sea for a week will have crusted salt on it that thick. So keep praying and keep prepping. Heavy on both of those. May God bless you and keep your family safe. Sons of Liberty out.